we said we were going to talk about some personal development. So you mentioned a coach that you've worked with and that you really enjoy personal development. And I don't actually know what question I should start with in that realm to kind of open that door up. So is there a specific direction you would like to go in that conversation? Like maybe a specific piece of coaching that's been, maybe I guess really the question could probably be, is there something that you took away from your coach that you like to work with others?
Let me go back to the reason that I hired a coach. So it was a couple months prior to taking command, and something that I've always been pretty introspective guy. I've always been into personal development. I think that my gateway book was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People way back in the day. I've just always been drawn to that. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know exactly how long, but I read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And that book really, it inspired me. It made me just really want to dig deep to figure out myself, to figure out my why, right? As he explains it in his book. And so I toyed around with that. He offers an online course. He has another book called Find Your Why. And so I tried all that. He actually offered the course online for free to military. I don't know if he still does or not. Very beneficial. You kind of dig deep, but you don't really have a coach. You don't have anyone helping you then process all this information, all this stuff that you're learning about yourself through kind of trying to remember old stories or what have you. And so it was a couple months, maybe 3 or 4 months before taking command. And it was just very important to me that my command vision and philosophy was real, that it was me, and that it was something that wasn't just a piece of paper on the wall, which I've seen in other commands, that it actually was something that I believed in, that was core to who I was, that I could lead from. And so to me, the only way to figure that out was to dig deep and to really just figure out, like, what are those things that are super important to me? What are my core values? What are my core principles? And I tried it before and it didn't work. So I wanted to hire a coach. And so I did. I hired a coach. And what she helped me do is exactly what I've been talking about, is to, over the course of 6 to 8 months or so, 1 call per week during that time, we just dug deep. Old stories about my childhood, stories about daily life while I was going through it. And so through that process, you kind of dig down and just, you end up with all this stuff like purpose, passion, values, skills, all these things. I'm looking at it. I keep looking over here because it's on my wall, right? This blueprint. I wish it was behind me so you could see it. But you get all this stuff. But now you have a coach. I had a coach now to help me filter it down to the things that are really core to who I am, super important to me. And so, she boils it down to like top 10, but that doesn't really do it justice because it's a continual process. You're always learning more about yourself, and even things that are super important to me in 5 years, maybe some other things kind of move up the ladder, so to speak. And some of those things that were maybe top 10 aren't anymore. But we really drilled down to a couple of the core aspects for me. One, the reason I'm still in the Navy is certainly not for the money. It's certainly not for the prestige. It is because of the team. So a core principle of mine is team, right? And what I mean by that is I like to be part of strong teams. I don't have to be the leader. I just want to be part of strong teams that are aligned with core principles, are aligned to a mission, right? And I lucked out in naval aviation, I've had that. I've had that in all my squadrons. Okay. I'm sure there's some pilots out there who have not. They've been in some squadrons where it wasn't that good. I guess I lucked out, and I've always had that. All right. So team. What about the team though do I really love? I love when I think that I can make my teammates better. Whether it could be 0.1%, right? If you want to put a number on it. It could be just you walk away from our conversation, you feel a little bit better about yourself or a little bit better about what's going on. To me, that's what I like. Okay. And I believe the best way to do that, to be able to do that, to be in a position to do that, is to focus on your personal development first, to focus on yourself first, because by doing that, you're just going to build your capacity, right? It's like when you're the new guy on the team, you don't know where the locker room's at. You don't know where the bathroom's at, right? So how are you going to help anyone else get better? You have to work on yourself. You have to get better. And by doing that, you're automatically going to raise up your teammates. I didn't know how to articulate that before I hired a coach. And so my coach helped me articulate those things, and then to dig deeper, really to find those core principles that motivate me, that were woven into my whole philosophy, the principles of team, mindset, focusing on the things that you actually can control, your actions, your responses to circumstances. And then also with mindset, bring the mindset that you're going to use, right? That you're going to make decisions from. You bring that mindset to the table. You choose that. And then humility. I know that I don't know everything. And I believe that lifelong, continual learning, continual growth is key. And that is what I wanted to bring to the command, that, that when we were good, when we were doing good, hey, what can we learn? How can we do this better? Because something out there is going to get us right. So, yeah, I'll stop there. I know I've been talking for a little while now.
How does one find and vet a coach?
That's a great question. I found my coach from somebody else, right? So I think referrals are probably step one. I found my coach from a mentor of mine that had also worked with her. And so that was the initial step. And then we had a couple phone calls together and, figured out that we were a good fit and would make a good team. But it's very important, of course, that you see eye to eye with your coach. Your coach is going to help you find out things about yourself that maybe you didn't know, or just bring those things to the surface. So you might not be able to finish each other's sentences, but you certainly should have core principles, core values, belief system, right? Shouldn't be too far off, because you're going to be working a lot with this person, and this person is going to help you hopefully get better, right? As part of your team, going to raise you up. So that's how I did it.